Imagine seeing a skateboarder riding down the street, when all of a sudden they pop this quick fluid motion that seems to make the board levitate through the air, all while staying right under their feet. Well, this gravity-defying skateboard trick is called an Ollie, and you can learn it too. Over the years, skateboarding's popularity has grown in the youth community and had great influence in youth style, culture, and fashion. Skateboarding's also become more accessible for people of all different backgrounds. For example, GoSkate.com projects that in 2018, about 24% of skaters were female skaters. This proves you don't have to be a guy to skate. Anyone can do an Ollie with practice and a desire to learn. However, there are specific steps in learning how to do a correct Ollie. As a skateboarder for the last 9 years, I've been through the trial and error of learning the correct Ollie, along with many other skate tricks. I also have great experience with helping friends and other skaters learn how to Ollie too. Today, I'll discuss the 4 steps in doing a correct Ollie. 1. Getting comfortable pushing and riding. 2. Proper foot placement and jumping on the board. 3. Practicing the pop and slide. 4. Timing it properly. The first step in learning how to do an Ollie is getting comfortable with riding and pushing on the board. Now, the first important decision is figuring if your left or your right foot feels more comfortable forward. A good way to figure this out is to have a friend gently push you from behind and note which foot goes out to catch yourself. This will be your dominant foot and the one you put forward. Practice standing with your feet shoulder width apart on the board, knees slightly bent, and adjust your position until you're able to find a center of balance comfortable to you. Once you're comfortable standing, begin trying to push on the board with your back foot, keeping the front foot on. Practice pivoting your front foot toward the nose of the board while taking the back foot off and next to the board, and then repivot and place the back foot back on. A great exercise to help you practice the pushing motion is to imagine that there's gum on the bottom of your shoe and you're trying to scrape it off and back. Bring these steps together and practice pushing and keeping your balance until you feel comfortable moving on the board. Now that you've gained the basics of moving and riding the skateboard, we'll begin to learn the fundamentals to an Ollie. The second step in learning how to do an Ollie is getting the right foot placement and practicing the jump. Learning the right foot placement is crucial to being able to properly execute this trick, as it's what lifts the board up as you jump. Start with standing beside the board and practice placing your front foot a little behind the bolts on the board. Now, you place your back foot on the board and move it to the tail, slightly behind the bolts in the back, making sure to slightly bend your knees, like before. The heel of your back foot should be somewhat hanging off to be able to generate the power necessary in the toes. Practice this foot positioning by finding your center of balance and try stepping off and right back into the correct Ollie position to get yourself familiar. Once you're comfortable with this new positioning, you should begin practicing the jump. Try standing in the Ollie position and jumping up and back to the side of the board. Once comfortable with leaving the board, try jumping up and back onto the board, making sure you land with bent knees to soften the jump. Continue practicing these jumps until you're comfortable with leaving and returning to the board. Now that you've got the jump and foot position down, you're ready to learn the pop and slide, which are the 2 movements that bring the Ollie off the ground. The third step in learning how to do an Ollie is learning the pop and slide correctly. When learning how to pop, you're going to try and put more pressure on your toes and ball of your foot to generate the power necessary. Try popping the tail quickly down to the floor and stomp your back foot to keep it popped. Then practice popping the front of the board back down and onto the ground. Practice this pop until you can comfortably and quickly snap the nose up and snap the nose back down. Now you want to begin trying the slide motion that levels out the board after the pop. Practice with sliding your front foot sideways and towards the nose of the board. You will notice a light shoe mark on the grip tape, which will let you know if your pressure and slide is correct. If your pressure is too hard, you will notice a more visible mark on the grip tape. A great practice tool that I use for getting the slide right is putting a chip clip on the nose of my board and trying to kick it off with the side of my foot. This replicates the sliding pattern and helps you build the muscle memory needed in the Ollie. After practicing and getting down the pop and slide, you're at the final step, which is putting it all in proper timing. This is what really creates the Ollie. The fourth and final step in learning how to do an Ollie is correctly timing it to get the board off the ground and leveled in the air. Initially, you want to begin on the ground and practice jumping with your front foot leaving slightly before your back foot, almost like a stagger jump. This will replicate the motion of the Ollie and help you know what it'll be like on the board. Now, you can step on the board and begin trying the pop while incorporating that stagger jump and the slide motion with the front foot. Just try to get a feel of the board popping and lifting those back wheels without trying to get your board landing back on your board with your feet. Continue practicing this motion and getting the board to comfortably leave the ground while jumping and popping the back foot. When you're ready, you can begin trying to land your front foot back on the board, but remember to keep your knees bent. With more practice, try to get that front foot to land more over the front bolts for stability and positioning when you're landing. Now, you want to try and put the back foot over the back bolts as well as the front foot and keep your balance with them bent knees upon landing. If you successfully completed the last step, congratulations! You just did your first Ollie! The only thing now is cleaning it up a little bit. As you get more comfortable with doing these ollies, try and jump your back foot up a little higher and faster and kick your nose down a little sooner to get that truly leveled looking ollie. Finally, a tip that helped me with my ollies was pretending the floor was lava, and as soon as the tail touches the ground, I have to snap back up to try and not burn my foot. Well, just like that, we've covered the 4 steps in doing a proper ollie: getting comfortable on the skateboard, proper foot placement, the pop and the slide, and finally, timing it properly. Let this lesson be a reminder that anyone can skate with hard work, practice, and a little bit of guts. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Have a wonderful afternoon, and remember, keep on rolling.